About 2 years ago, almost to the exact day, I picked up my first EV, and that was this car sitting right next to me, a 2021 Tesla Model 3 long range. My ownership experience with this particular car has been truly awesome. I absolutely love the Model 3, super enthusiastic about this car, and have really fallen in love with the EV lifestyle. If you guys know, we have multiple EVs now. My wife drives a Volkswagen ID4. I have this and a new Tesla Model 3 Performance. But one aspect I really want to cover in today's video is the wear and tear over 2 years and 25,000 miles on this specific Tesla Model 3 long range. So welcome back to another out of spec detailing video. Let's jump into it. From a detailer's perspective, one of my biggest things is protecting cars for the future, keeping things clean so that they don't wear out. Now this car, I would say, has been babied for the most part, right? So I got this car in September of 2021. Now we're in September of 23, 2 years later. This car was ceramic coated with G-Technic Crystal Serum Light and XO-V4, basically a few days after taking delivery of it. So we'll talk a lot about that on the exterior of the vehicle because this thing has really held up well. Now this thing has been babied, but it also has been abused in certain ways as well. This has been my daily driver. It's been up to the mountains in Colorado, lots of grit and sand on the roads, lots of dirt. This has been through snowstorms with mag chloride and salt brine on the roads, as well as big road trips like going out to California and back, where we did a 2,800 mile road trip through 110, 115 degree heat. So I've been very, very pleased with mostly the exterior of the vehicle and how everything is holding up. We're going to walk through everything on the exterior that I think needs to be improved for the future, but areas that I've seen some really interesting wear on. Now, my biggest concept with this video is really on the interior, and I will say, just a note that I haven't really maintained this interior as much as I would have liked to. Of course, being a business owner here, you can see we've got cars everywhere and I get super busy, and honestly, a lot of the times my cars don't get cleaned as often as I'd like, but we're gonna really talk about the materials in here and how they've worn over that 2 years and 25,000 miles. I think some of the things are gonna surprise you and other things will maybe not surprise you. So let's jump in first to the exterior of the vehicle. Now, maintaining this Tesla Model 3 long range has been truly something that's so easy to deal with. So this car, as I said, had been ceramic coated, and 2 years later, it looks just as good as the day I did it. So let me talk a little bit about a few things on this. Now, I'm asked a lot about paint protection film. This car has 0 paint protection film. Now, do I have some rock chips on this car? Absolutely. But you'll notice here on the front end, it looks pretty incredible. Now, I will show you some tighter areas like this where I do have some rock chips here and here. I will be making a follow-up video within the next couple of weeks on how to touch those up. But as you can see, the front end here really looks incredible for being in Colorado, in the mountains, in the winter, on road trips. In my impression, if I would have spent money doing PPF, it would have been a complete waste of money. I felt that the value would be to put it into the ceramic coating and have a car that is easy to wash off. Teslas are notorious for having just this huge grill here that loves to catch a ton of bugs, and the coating has made it so easy to really clean it up. Of course, our Colorado winters are very, very harsh on these vehicles. You get this big wake down the side where you get all of this salt over the side and the rear of the car. And in all honesty, you would have no idea. You would think this car literally lives inside, never sees rain, never sees dirt, but it does. This has been a daily driver. So really important, I think, to get your car protected in whatever manner you think. Now, I'm not gonna get into the whole PPF discussion. We have other videos on this channel specifically talking about that. Now, some of the wear and tear, mostly that I wanted to talk about, was on the inside, but there are some areas, of course, like the front bumper has had a few rock chips, but nothing that you can really see even standing within a couple of feet of it. You really have to get in there and look for them. But once we get these touched up, it's gonna look a heck of a lot better. I just haven't really done it for the last probably 9 months. the first, I guess, year or so, I really touched up a lot of those areas, and that's why it looks so freaking good. I get told all the time, like, how many miles does this car have on it? I'm like 25,000. People are like, how do you like keep it this clean? So I'm really happy to say that and see that, of course. Now, a lot of Teslas I see have an issue here on this new satin black trim. And a lot of that comes from people using the incorrect chemicals on the car. So a lot of people take their cars through car washes. Now, most people are not taking it through brush car washes. That's a whole different discussion. But a lot of people take their car through a tunnel wash where it is completely touchless. The issue with that is with these touchless car washes, they use a lot of heavy chemicals. Now, I've also made a video talking about how to get the water spots off of these because I see this a lot, specifically mostly on Model Ys, which is interesting. But this trim still looks absolutely perfect, nice, silky, smooth, no water spotting on it because it's been ceramic coated and because it's had only safe chemicals touching this. So keep that into consideration if you are buying a car. Maybe coat it, maybe try not to take it through car washes that use really harsh chemicals. So that can be very tricky to figure out. Now, one of the areas on the satin or matte black that I really don't like has been the door handles. And let me show you what I mean. Hopefully I can show this on camera, but it's going to be a little hard. Maybe there you can see it. So you'll see this portion of the door handle is very satin. And then you get back here to this area where it has started to get shiny. Now these are coated with the same exact thing on here. The problem is when you open these door handles like this, every time you're kind of swiping on here, wearing away that satin effect. And this is on the passenger side as well, but mostly on the driver's side. So that to me is really annoying. Now, the tricky thing with something like satin or matte is you can't polish it. So it's a completely different paint to something like the glossy white paint over here. It's made in this specific way to give that appearance. And honestly, there's not a whole heck of a lot you can do. I have tried using some sort of chemicals on here to remove the oils and things like that, but this has permanently turned that, which I really, really don't like. So I think that definitely needs to get improved. You're going to see this on Model 3, Model Y. Model S, not so much because you have glossy black handles, totally different story. But let me just bring you over to this side and show you the same exact thing is going on here. So you can see literally it's just a spot where everybody comes in, boom, you grab this, you've got grease on your fingers, lotion, whatever it may be, and it's caused that. Now the back ones aren't as bad because don't have a lot of people getting in and out of the back seat, but really mostly the front handle. So I would say that is one of the wear and tear things that I'm not super impressed with on this car. And there's honestly not a whole heck of a lot you can do. Now I'd be curious to see if I could put in a service ticket, if Tesla would replace those. I highly doubt it. So I think this is just something you're gonna have to live with. So what I've been doing on my new car is kind of moving my finger into other areas like here on the front and grab it, move it here on the back. I don't think it's gonna make much of a difference overall. But the exterior of the vehicle truly looks incredible. And that's just because I have maintained it. I have coated it. Pretty much every time we got a wind or snowstorm, it would come in here, at least get rinsed off. Not a full hand wash every time, but at least get rinsed off. So I've been super happy with that. Honestly, the wear and tear on the outside of the vehicle, to me and to other people who have seen this car up close, are like, how have you done this? And it's just honestly simple washes, having your car ceramic coated. Truly love the product and process here. Now, if you guys are interested in getting your cars detailed here at Clear Detailing in Windsor, Colorado, I will be ceramic coating your car with a different coating that is on this particular one. But definitely give me a call, reach out in the description below if you are interested in those protection services. But I think next, let's jump inside and talk about how the inside has really worn. Well, lots of things to talk about in the interior here. Overall, I've been very pleased with the interior, with exception of a few things. And those three big things I would say is the use of cheap plastic materials in the wrong areas, the textiles Tesla uses, mostly focusing on carpet areas. And number 3, this specific generation of Tesla white seats. Now let me explain a little bit on the seats. So this car is a 2021. My friend Kyle's Model 3 Performance is, I believe, a 2019, maybe slightly earlier, and my new Model 3 Performance is a 2023. The 2023 and Kyle's Model 3 Performance seat materials feel completely different to these seats. The way the padding is in the bottom of the seat here, the way the material actually feels, this is a lot softer and a lot, I would say, squishier maybe. My seat and his seats are a lot more, I wouldn't say hard, but firm. It just completely different seat, which is really interesting. Now, first off, I'll tell you, when I originally got this car, just like the exterior of the vehicle, I ceramic coated all of the seats. It makes a massive difference. So it is called Gyeon Leather Shield. I'm going to leave a link in the description below. I'm also going to leave a link for a video of how to install it. Go buy it if you are purchasing a new Tesla and just install it as soon as humanly possible to you getting the car. Now let me explain why. So I coated all of the seats originally. I had the driver's seat replaced for some issues that I was having with it, and let me bring it over here and explain. So the original seat down here had basically a defective plastic area down here that when you would sit in the seat would cause a little hole here. I believe I had this replaced around, I want to say it was 6,000 or so miles into ownership of this particular car. I also had the cover here on the back of the seat replaced because it was basically rubbing here, and there's like, we're just going to replace the seat. Now I did have to go into our local Loveland Tesla service center to get this replaced, and since then I didn't coat the seat here. I wanted to test out what these white interiors really wear like without a coating. Now I'll tell you, Kyle's Model 3 Performance with 130,000 miles plus on it now looks way better than this seat does with 10-ish thousand miles. Well, I guess it'd be slightly more than, let's say 15,000 miles, give or take in there. This seat looks absolutely horrendous. Look, first off, the color difference here. Bright, vibrant white, yellow, and brown. I have cleaned this seat multiple times and it is completely stained like this. And before I get the comments of use magic eraser, absolutely do not use those. What they do is take every bit of this protection that they put over this and it'll make it look 10 times worse. I have not used magic eraser on that. So this is just from dirt and grime and wear and tear, and it is absolutely stained. So you can see here, look how white basically it is in that seam there, and then just yellow and brown and nasty everywhere. Like look at this area over here. You can see this where my pants or shirt doesn't sit in here. Bright white area here, and then completely stained. All of the piping down here looks terrible. And look at this material here, how it's got like almost veins in it. And then you can see how bright white it is. This seat looks absolutely terrible. And this is one of my biggest complaints with this car. Now, again, my brand new car, the seat feels completely different. The material feels totally different, but all of these seats have worn way better. So I don't know if I got a slightly different seat or if it was this generation of seat where they changed the material so much. But to me, huge no-go on this, really frustrating, but I should have coated them before. So this is a big forewarning. I'm gonna drive this point home one more time. Coat your white seats. The black ones, I would say don't really need it, but just do the white ones because otherwise you're gonna have staining like this. Now, overall, my impressions of the interior, other than that, have been very good. I think I love the minimalist interior. Now, comparing it to the new Model 3 refresh, where I think you're gonna see a lot less cheap plastic parts like this, I think the refresh is nice, except for the perforated seats. From a detailing perspective, they're a pain in the butt to clean versus these. Now, I understand my car has been a little bit different, but perforated seats, way harder to clean, especially if you have kids, dogs, things like that. They just get clogged up. Now, it's nice to have cooled seats. Totally agree with that, but I'm not sure I would choose these seats over cooled, or I would choose these seats over cooled seats to not have perforations. The other thing, is stocks. I don't know who in their right mind decided that steering wheel stocks are not needed. To me, it's one of those things like with the yoke. Everybody thought it was cool until you actually use it, and then you're like, this is not better. I'm telling you guys, it's not better. Me being a one-handed driver, it doesn't work. So I drive my friend Kyle's Model S Plaid over here quite often. Same situation. It has no stocks. It's got the turn signals on the actual steering wheel. I basically don't even use them. So for me as a daily driver, that was one of my decisions in buying a Model 3 Performance. Now, speaking of the steering wheel, I've been overwhelmingly happy with the actual steering wheel material, that vegan leather that they use, synthetic leather, if you will. That has held up amazingly. Now, I say that it only has 25,000 miles on it. It's 2 years old. It should hold up like that. Most people's steering wheels are absolutely disgusting. But one thing I have seen recently with a lot of Tesla steering wheels is that they peel and they really basically wear through that whole material. Now, my perspective on that is during COVID, a lot of people were using a lot of hand sanitizer. Stuff like that is insanely harsh on steering wheels. So I think that's really why they started to degrade so quickly. Now, I could be wrong on that, but that's my theory. And I have seen things like that in the past where certain, things you put on your hands, lotions, sunscreen, hand sanitizer can start to affect these materials throughout the vehicle. Now, the steering wheel has been great, other than the plastic bits, and this is kind of same as I'm talking about on the exterior satin black. So notice here, you have basically satin all the way around and shiny in the two basically thumb spots. The funny thing with me, I drive one-handed. I put my hand over here on this side, and this area never gets touched. So in my impression, this is almost just a wear thing that has maybe the sun has damaged this. I'm not sure because my hand is never over here. It's not creating this greasy spot. I've tried to clean this, permanently stained there. Not really sure what's going on. So moving on to Textiles. So I personally think Tesla makes one of the worst carpets in the automotive industry, whether it's Model S, Model X, Model 3, Model Y. They're all terrible. This material is just a pain in the butt to clean. It holds a lot of dirt, holds a lot of hair, and really hard to vacuum out. It's really funny when you get in, to detailing and you go to like a Range Rover or a Rivian or a Porsche and you start noticing how different carpets are in cars because it makes a big difference on how much time you're spending on them. These are a pain in the butt. The other thing that's a pain is their floor mats. So their normal carpet floor mats that come in Model 3, absolutely terrible. I take them out immediately. Again, they hold on to dirt. They look terrible. So I tried out these rugged mats, and I would say these are really no different. I think they look slightly nicer, but they wear pretty horribly, and they hold a lot of dirt. So still looking at finding better floor mats for this car. Other textiles I do like, though, is the Alcantara here. I think it looks great here in the center console where the phone heaters are. Oh, wait. Phone battery chargers. Those things, in my opinion, terrible. A couple reasons why. They just heat your phone up. They don't charge very fast. You go any sort of quickly around a corner and they're flying out, shooting everywhere all over the car. So really don't love that. They look nice. It's kind of nice to just throw your phone on there on a long road trip maybe, but they do just heat up the phone. So I don't find that very well. So Textiles really not happy with in this particular car, nor this seat. Now the third complaint I have about the current generation Model 3 is the use of very cheap plastics in the wrong areas. And it's this plastic. So they use this very, very cheap area on all the high impact wear areas. Now, I do think they may do this so you can replace them, but who's realistically replacing all of these pieces when they get scuffed up? So let me show you what I mean. Useful here in this cup holder area, you have all these scuffs permanently stained in it. Now, Model Ys have carpet in these areas. I think it's a far better solution. Kick areas here on the door sill. These are all permanently scuffed and scratched in here. Model Y has again changed this, I believe, in the structural pack, maybe all of them now, I'm not exactly sure, to where this is all carpet. Wears substantially better. Let me show you over here on the passenger side what I mean. So over here on the passenger side, I try to not hit my feet, but passengers, you know, this is quite heavy on here, and look at the scraping and scratching in there. Really hate that. Here, their feet hit the door, permanently scratched. So areas like that, really frustrating, kind of annoying. I'm hoping the new Model 3 looks quite a bit better. Now, an area which I'm surprised has held up so well is the back seat. Why I say that is because I've got two golden retrievers, 170 pounds, 160 pounds. They were both back here, just get hair everywhere, long nails. I would have thought these seats would have been absolutely destroyed. Now, most of the time I had the seats folded down, but they've been back here with their nails, dirty, filthy. Seats look phenomenal. Again, I would say that that has a lot to do with them being coated, not so much tearing, but as far as the dirt and grime, but super impressed with the durability of these actual seats. Now, again, you get down to areas like this. Look at all the scratches in this plastic from them getting in and out. What I am impressed though is areas like this. One of my boy dog would lay over here with this paw on here. He would hit down the window all the time. And this area looks absolutely perfect, not scratched up whatsoever. So very impressed with that there. Now, another area with this cheap plastic bit is back here on the back of the seats, and you can see putting boxes or anything in, you're going to get permanent scratches like that. So that's a few of the areas that I really don't love in the interior. Overall, I would say very happy with it. I still think this interior looks modern. Again, I just bought a brand new 3 Performance, so I do love this interior and decided not to wait. Now, things that have been fixed other than the seat, cabin filters. Big known thing in the Model 3s that where they actually put the cabin filter basically is under here on the passenger side center console footwell. I've replaced it 3 times within 2 years and 25,000 miles. To me, that seems slightly excessive. Within the first 5 months, I actually requested service for Tesla to come replace it because it stunk. It smelled like a wet dog. And no, that wasn't because my dogs were in the back seat. That's what they all do. So I was like, okay, I need this fixed. They did fix that one time on mobile service. They came out and did that. They also did the tail light. It built up some condensation in here. Very common on Teslas. They warranted both of those. So since then, my basically only maintenance, other than one other thing I'm going to talk about, has been 2 cabin filters that I've had to pay for. Other than that, absolutely nothing. Now, lastly, let's talk about tires. For an EV, this is something that you guys all need to understand. Tires will be a wear item, and very, very quickly of a wear item. So let me run you through basically how this has gone for me, because I've had a lot of issues with tires and I've burned through a lot of tires on this car in only 25,000 miles. So the original tires that this came on, actually not these on here right now, but on the 18-inch Aero wheels, were a set of Michelin, kind of like an eco-friendly tire. 7,500 miles was all I got out of them. Now, I do drive my car very hard, launching it from stoplights, going up to the mountains and kind of going quickly in canyons and things like that. So do take that into consideration, but 7,500 miles on a set of tires. Now, then I switched to a set of 20-inch wheels, which was the Uber turbines on the factory performance tire as well. I have had 5 tire blisters on those 20-inch. They're the 235, 35, 20-inch from Pirelli, the P0 acoustic tires. They're crap. I have been through 5 of them with tire blisters. It's because they're big. It's because they're stretched. I'm personally not a Pirelli fan. Sorry to put that out there into the ether, but just in my opinion, buy Michelin, buy Nokians. So I've also had Nokian tires on here, which is what's currently on here. These are the Hakkapeliitta R5s, and I burned through basically half the tread in one season. Now again, I drive my car very hard, but consider that. I basically have been through 4, almost 5 sets of tires on this car. So take that into consideration when you're buying an EV. Overall though, I absolutely love the Model 3. Overall impressions of the wear and things that I've seen on this car. Exterior, I think everything has really been great. Super glad I didn't do PPF on here. If you're interested in more discussions about that, you can go check out a few of our videos on this channel. The areas that I really don't like, door handles, how those have worn over time, really think that's odd. They shouldn't do that. I may try and play around with them a little bit more before this car does get turned in on a lease. But interior stuff, overall, I've been happy with it, not amazed by it. And I think that's something that they have really tried to change with the Model 3 refresh. So I'm hoping that the new cars are substantially better. But my overall impression of this car, of course, I just purchased a second one. So as you know, I love these things. Now, if you are interested in purchasing a Tesla, I will leave my referral link in the description below. Basically, it gives you $500 off a new vehicle and 3 months of full self-driving for free by just using that referral code. So I'll leave that in the link in the description below. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll see you in another out of spec detailing video very, very soon. Bye-bye.